So we stopped in the seal portion, verse 24, and understand that this is the first time that division or contention or disagreements came to be in the spiritual realm, um, when basically, Satan stood up and said, what, or Lucifer stood up and said what he said, not agreeing with um, being in his affixed state or order, or having to go through certain things and realizing that there were things that were already ordained by their own understandings of happiness, of what they wanted, whether they wanted to be of service or be serviced. Um, also, it started, with Lucifer doing that. It was like complaining or murmuring in a way. And um, it's something that we did when we were being rescued from Egypt. And also something we probably will do when we're being rescued from here, because of the different things that we have to go through in order to um, have our exodus. Anyway, so we're on verse 25 in the seal portion, chapter 5. 25. And there were many spirits who sided with Lucifer and joined him in what they thought were righteous and just desires. There were many spirits that fought against Lucifer and argued with him, explaining to those that followed after him that they must do the things that the Father has instructed them to do, and how these things have always been done according to the laws of heaven. And remember, the laws of heaven cannot be transgressed, not even changed by the Creator himself. Understanding this. And you can read about that in other, like, previous chapters in the seal portion if you get one or if you have one. Um, let's see. 27. And it came to pass that the father rose up and quieted his children, saying, My beloved children, do not be angry at the words of Lucifer, for he is justified in his right to say that which he believes to be just. And for your own instruction and learning, I would that you should discuss these things among yourselves and determine for yourselves what you will believe to be the best for each of you. See, God gave all of us the ability to make up our own minds, the ability to have free will and to choose between what we believe is right and what we believe is wrong. And there's a lot of things that sometimes we believe that's right and it's not righteous. You understand what I'm saying? And there's things that we believe is wrong but might be righteous and just because we don't have all the facts. So let's continue. So this is another way of how he was saying, choose this day who you will serve. Either you're going to serve the light or the dark. And it came to pass that, this is verse 28, sorry. And it came to pass that another of the spirits stood up among them, and this spirit was also the firstborn of the father, but not from the same mother as Lucifer. And the mother of this spirit was Madihala, the same woman that had embraced the brother of Jared and called him her son. And his name was Yahushua, or Jehovah. And Jehovah was also, or Christ. And Jehovah was also a leader among the spirits, being the firstborn of many, and had been blessed exceedingly in all the wisdom of his father. And he spake unto all the spirits, saying, Know ye not that the laws that have been set forth from the foundations of time and all eternity are unalterable and necessary for our salvation? Why do you think that the Father has taught these things to us? Do you not have faith in his words? And the Father smiled upon the words of Yahushua. Nevertheless, he did not interfere with the discussions that were taking place among his children. 32. Thus we see the great wisdom and love that the Father has for his children, and patience had mercy. He allowed us to work out our own salvation, knowing beforehand that we will come to the only conclusion that can be made, that we must honor and obey the eternal laws of heaven. 33. Nevertheless, in his omniscient wisdom, he knows that we must be given the chance to learn these things by faith, without his force or without his intervention, thus securing us the free agency that he had granted unto us. And after Christ had spoken these words, Lucifer rose again and contended with the words that Jesus was saying. 35. We know that there are laws that have been declared unto us as being eternal, but are not these laws those that others have made to serve their own purpose? And is it not true that in order for these laws to be binding upon us, that we must first agree to them and confirm that they are the laws by which we wish to live? 36. And if by using our agency we choose to live by other laws of our own choosing, are we not then bound by these laws that we have chosen for ourselves, and not by the laws that have been chosen for us by others? 37. Behold, I am a celestial spirit, and it is my desire to be a servant unto others. And by the course of my power that I know I will have because of the joy that I receive in serving others, I will create more joy among them. And with this power, I will cause that new laws are formed which guarantee that all of the spirits that I create will become like unto me and have the power and glory that I have. Is this not a righteous desire? I do not do this for myself, but to serve the just cause of eternal happiness. Yes, even by giving this happiness to all without the pain and sorrow of which our Father has spoken. And Jesus responded to the words, or Yahushua responded to the words of Lucifer, saying, and how do you suppose that we learn about this pain and sorrow of which the Father has spoken if we do not first experience it? And how do you suppose that we comprehend the happiness and joy of eternity if we do not know what causes them? 40. Behold, you know that one of the eternal laws states that there is an opposite to all things. If this were not the case, then we could not know anything. For if there was no dark, how could we comprehend the light? And if there was no bad, how could we comprehend good? And if there is no pain and sorrow, how can we understand what joy and happiness are? 41. And these things are according to our feelings. But even so, if there were not cold, how could we know warmth? Yes, even if there were no rocks, then there would be no earth, which is softer than a rock, yet made up of the same elements. 42. How can you, being a celestial being, expect to serve your creations by taking away the only source of the joy that you suppose to give to them? You know that this is not possible. Let us listen to the words of the Father and trust in his glory, that he will provide the means whereby we may experience happiness according to our desires of happiness. And Lucifer rebuked Jesus, or Jehovah, and railed against him, even so much that the Father stood up again amongst all of his spirit children and beckoned them to listen to him. 44. And Lucifer stood forth amongst those who stood with him, and rebelled against the Father. And the mothers of these spirits stood with the Father, and pled with their spirit children to listen to their father. But the words of Lucifer were convincing unto them, they being mostly celestial beings who understood that their eternal lot was that of a celestial glory. And they understood the penalties that were affixed to that kingdom. And these eternal mothers wept for their spirit children. But they knew that the laws of agency could not be breached. And thus they saw the rebellion of their beloved children. And truly the Father has shown his great mercy towards his children and their iniquities, insomuch that after the rebellion of Lucifer and a host of spirits, the Father cast them out of his kingdom, and they were cut off from the kingdom of God forever.